What's up, my beautiful people? I am here with another movie review, and this time it will be A Wife's Nightmare. I found it on Amazon, and this movie is crazy. This is, well, I haven't been in front of the camera for a while. I know I just did a video on Thanksgiving, but I haven't been like in front doing reviews, more so like behind just doing voiceovers. And there's a reason for that. I'll get into that in another video. But I just want to say this. I just did an amazing collab with three amazing people. It was so much fun. I laughed, I drank some wine, I had a good time, and I can't wait to announce that and share that with you guys so you can check it out. But let's get into this review. Okay, so this movie starts with a girl sitting in her car. She's like bouncing her leg. She's like real nervous looking at this house. So, while she's sitting there, a lady comes outside and knocks on her window, and she's like, you've been sitting here for a long time. Is there something I can help you with? And she's like, oh, I'm waiting for someone to meet me. And it's just like, but you've been sitting here for so long, and why are they meeting you on this street? So it's just like, girl, are you doing drugs? Is somebody, about to drop a bag off to you? Like, what are you doing? And as soon as she says that, like, the lady is like, okay. She rolls up her window and like, busts a U-turn and leaves. But then she comes back, and a boy is walking down the street with a couple other guys, and she pulls out this picture of a man, a woman, and him. So then a truck pulls up, and she gets out of her car, and she walks up to the couple and tells the man, I think I'm your daughter. And it's just like, what? And she looks to be like a young girl. So the wife is looking like, is this true? And the girl who was Caitlin, she's like, my mom's name was such and such. And he looks at his wife and says, that would have been way before I met you. But it's just like, she looks to be the same age as the son. So it cannot be way before you met her. So she's just like, well, come on in, let's talk about it. So they're putting clues together as to if it's a possibility. And the son comes home, and I thought he was home already, but I guess he went to like a friend's house and then came home, and they want to talk to him, but he's, the typical teenager just runs up to his room, and it's just like, that's why I don't like kids. I would have punched him in his face like, little boy, you hear me talking to you, come sit down. But of course they let him run up to his room. He slams the door, whoop-de-whoop, whatever. And then, like, as they're having the conversation, she says that she'll leave, because I think they told the son, got it. It was like he came down and saw her and thought he was going to try to spit game to her, because he was like, hey. And, so they told him, like, what was going on. And she was like, you know what? I'll leave. I'll just leave. And she goes to her car crying. It's raining. Like, it's so dramatic. And it's just like, really? This is what y'all doing? Really? And the wife, whose name is Liz. So we have the husband, Gabe, the wife, Liz, who is Jennifer Beals from the L Word. And then Caitlin, who is the daughter in question. So they bring her back in, give her some dry clothes, let her stay the night. And the thing is that we find out that the mom recently had a nervous breakdown, and she was out of work, but she's about to go back to work because her boss, told her that they need her. So she's about to go back to work. She has medication, but it was a hard hit to the family. So, they're trying their best to recover from her having her breakdown. And, let me scoot over. So, and the husband doesn't work. He's an artist who is creating an album. So they had to take out a second mortgage on the house, and so she has to go back to work because ain't no money coming in. It's like, you're an artist, but while you're creating your art, you could have a job. It's just like, you don't just have to create your art. Sorry, I'm trying to get it together. And so in that time, it seems like she's the outsider while they're Gabe and I forgot the son's name. They're all growing closer to Caitlyn, so it seems like they're one happy family, and she's just on the outside looking in. And one night while they're having dinner, Caitlyn claims to have gotten a new job because she lives in her car, so she's homeless. She doesn't have a job, and all she completed was high school. And so she comes and tells them that she found a job. They hired her right on the spot. So he says, let's celebrate. Liz says, like, I can't do that with my medication. He's like, it's just a little drink. But it's just like, if your wife just had a nervous breakdown and she's not supposed to be mixing alcohol with her medication, why would you pour her a glass of wine anyway? So I'm looking at the husband sideways. And then he spills the wine on her shirt. But the way he wipes it off, it's not like a dad would do to a daughter. So she's looking at him like, that's sketchy. And Caitlyn asked to take the son out for ice cream, and she said no. Liz, she was like, it's a school night. I'm not comfortable with that. But the dad is like, yeah, you guys go ahead. And this is where I got upset, because I could just think in the future with my partner. If I say no, we mean no. Do not go over my head, especially in front of our would-be children. We have to be a united front. So if I say no, back me up. Don't go over my head and like, she tripping, y'all go ahead. Because now I got to fight everybody. Because, like, I'm going to have a problem with it. It's just like, if I said no, why would you turn around and tell them yes? So it's like, when he says yes, she slams her napkin down and she walks out. Because it's just like, all right, I guess I just, like, don't nobody hear me because I'm the crazy lady. My word don't mean nothing, or I'm overreacting about everything. And so while Caitlyn and, I'm going to just call him the boy are walking, he tells her, like, my mom used to be great, but now she's just a freak show. And her thing is, Caitlyn, she loves to remind him, because there's been a few other scenes that didn't really matter, where she'll throw out the, at least you still have a mom card. And, like, or you should be grateful to have your mom, to have both of your parents. And so he starts looking at it that way, like, I guess, whatever. But it's like, why does it take a outside stranger for you to appreciate what you have? Because even as a teenager myself, I was never, there were ungrateful moments, but I was just never like that. Like, she's a freak show, I want nothing to do with her. Like, da 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 da. And it's what is it? So after that, they're having a barbecue. So they're all happy and smiling once again. And she comes home from work looking at them outside, and it's just like, she's starting, well, not starting, but she's feeling more out of the picture. But then there's this look of Gabe, like, caressing Caitlyn's back again, not like a father. So she says something to him about it, like, I'm not comfortable with her here. Like, y'all don't act like father and daughter. Like, the way you caress her is how you would caress me. So of course, with her having the nervous breakdown, taking the medication, he's piling it on, like, do you know what you're accusing me of? This is something we should bring up to the therapist. This is all new low for you. I can't believe you're like, getting real hyped up. So of course she's like, is it me? Like, did I say the wrong thing? Like, questioning herself of whatever he's saying. So she was spending all night working on a big project with her job. And then later on that night, no, not later, it was like 4:30 in the morning, she hears a noise downstairs. So she goes to investigate, and Caitlin is coming up the stairs. And she noticed that the computer she was working on was on. So it's like, of course, when I went to bed, I know that my computer was off. Like, ain't nobody gonna tell me different. So she gets to work looking for a very important file. It's not there. So now her boss is looking at her like she's crazy. Like, you claim to have this file, but now it's nowhere in sight. Did you even really do the work? And the account that they have is very important. So it's just like, again, I can't trust you. Are you about to act out again? So when she gets home, she's like, did you touch my computer? No, why would I do such a thing? It's like, girl, you touched my computer. Quit playing. So she does now it's white on white crime, because she runs out in typical white woman fashion, just so upset. And so when she looks outside, she sees Gabe like comforting her, because of course she's upset, and she has to go tell her dad how she accused me of touching her computer, and I would never touch her computer. And it's just like, so of course when he sees her, did you accuse her of dot 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 dot? And it's just like, skirt, you don't even know if this your real daughter yet, so you trying to confront me and have an attitude about saying something to this stranger girl? Yes, I did. What you gonna do? That's not your real daughter. You feel like this is your daughter, but you don't know for certain that that's your daughter. And I already feel a way about you touching up on her, so you might want to keep it cute with how you coming at me about me asking her a question, because that's number one. I didn't even accuse her of anything. I asked her if she touched my computer, and I can ask that little girl anything I want to. So it's just like, don't. And he's like, then he flipped it on her. That's what I hate. It's like gaslighting. When did this movie even come out? I gotta look and see when the movie came out. But it's like, this is gaslighting for real. Because he's like, me and the boy, like, we putting up with a lot. And now you accusing me of wanting a 19-year-old girl? It's like, you really got to get it together. So, she start crying because she feels like she's insane. Oh, and I forgot to mention, she after the ice cream thing, like, she had went to the bathroom to grab her pills to like take one, but she stopped and she went and flushed them down the toilet. So I feel like with her being off her medication, then all of these things happening, she's just feeling an overload of emotion. So she breaks down crying. He's hugging her, and it's just like, first you tell her that she's crazy, or implies that she's crazy, but then you want to give her a hug and comfort her, and it's just like, oh, I want to fight. And also, Caitlin, at her job that she claims to have just gotten, she's been working there for a while. So when the boy comes to, like, I guess check out the record store and congratulate her on her first day, her friend, she don't say nothing, but she look over like, like that, like, somebody lying, like, first day, like, this girl first day. And so it's just like, something in the milk ain't clean. This ain't your first day at all, and you acting like it is. So the next time Caitlin goes to work, her friend says, why would they think that that was your first day? And she's like, I don't know. And her friend was like, Caitlin, what's going on? Because she didn't have an explanation as to why they would think that was her first day. The only thing she could say was, I don't know. So it's like, obviously you've been lying and you got caught up in said lie. I need to do something about the bags under my eyes, Jesus. So then the son's name is AJ. So the boy is AJ. He shows up again. And I'm just like, are you going to show up every day that she's at work? And, they just still talking again. And this girl that AJ likes shows up to the store. And she was also there when they went to go get ice cream. And she be looking at AJ. Like, they just be looking at each other, but don't say nothing. And so she helps AJ to talk to the girl. And, he's so hype about that, he kisses her. And it's just like, for all intents purposes, whether she could be your sister, could not be, and they calling each other brother and sister to the girl, Because when they went to go get ice cream, it looked like they could have been girlfriend and boyfriend. But she was like, this is my brother, AJ. So it's like, you just kissed your sister. Gross. And he freaked out about it. He was like, I can't believe I just did that. It's so gross. And she's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. And it's just like, if this is your brother, that's not okay. And if you're so excited about finally getting to talk to the girl that you actually like, why would you kiss her? So it was just so gross. And it was just like, why would you? Ugh. So at dinner, it's Liz, Gabe, and AJ, as the family that they were before. And then she comes in the door and it's just awkward now. It's just like the vibe is all off and everybody is looking at Liz and Liz ain't said nothing. They was laughing before that girl came in the door, wasn't no problem. So AJ go talk to Caitlyn, to once again apologize about the kids. And she's like, I told you, it's okay. And she's standing there, like, just got out the shower in a bathrobe, and she's, like, wetting her hair. So Liz is walking past, and she hears, well, not walking past, she was trying to eavesdrop. So she knows that they kissed. And she on the treadmill, and Caitlyn comes in. She's like, I just want to talk and say, if there's anything I did, I'm sorry. And Liz is like, what do you want? Why are you here? Like, let's cut out all the games. Ain't nobody here. It's just me and you. Caitlyn ain't giving up this act. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm not here for anything. Like, I'm just here to find out if he's my father. And she's like, I know you kissed my son. Is that what this is about? He kissed me. I didn't kiss him. Liz ain't here for it. She's like, stop playing with me. Like, what do you want? Just be honest. Why are you here? So they get into a screaming match, and Gabe and AJ run in like, what's going on? And of course, Caitlyn once again runs out, I can't do this. And she like pushes a piece of paper into his stomach. It's the DNA results. And once again, he is looking at Liz like she is just, like, he can't stand her. She's my daughter. And now Gabe and AJ is looking at Liz like she is just this terrible person. And once again, AJ is telling somebody else how much of a freak his mama is and how he can't stand it after they had just had a beautiful moment together, because Liz came into his bedroom and apologized. She was like, I'm sorry that I'm putting you through this. And when she had her nervous breakdown, she said some terrible things to him, like how she regret having him and how having him forced her to stay with Gabe and she really didn't want to. So it's just like, it's been tension and they had just made up, and because she was arguing with old girl who they just so in love with now she's back to being the bad guy. And it's just like, she can't win for losing. So Liz throws Gabe a birthday party. And at this party, Liz and AJ have a sweet little moment where they just relate to each other for a second. And then Gabe is playing his guitar horribly, might I add. It was just, I didn't understand why we had to have this in the movie. I get it to continue the story of he's an artist, but he couldn't even play the guitar. So it's just like, y'all couldn't think of a different storyline, like maybe make him a painter or something, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, he's not good at this. And at the party, like all his friends are there, whatever, and he starts like, what am I trying to say, like toting Caitlyn around, like wanting to show her off. And it's just like, look at my daughter, look at her, like look at her. And Liz actually goes up to her and apologizes and says, I'm sorry for what I said, what I've accused you of, and it's like a moment between them. And I feel a way about that, because I'm like, I wouldn't be apologizing to her. I don't care until it can be proven to me that she ain't doing what I think she doing, because none of this start happening until she came around, like more things other than the nervous breakdown that she had, even though that's a big thing. It's just like, okay, I had that and I'm working my way back to this, but then it's like you show up and bam, here goes all this other stuff. And it's just like, like I got my eye on you. But anyway, Gabe comes over to get Caitlin and introduces her to somebody named Paul. So it's just like, okay, you introduced them to each other and left them alone to go talk. So it's just like they're talking, they're getting to know each other, and while everybody's moved in the house so he can open presents, and while he's opening presents, he sees Caitlin and Paul still outside talking through the window. So he can't even enjoy opening his presents because he's looking over at them. And Paul is like fixing her necklace around her neck, and like he goes out there and he starts pushing Paul, like, what you doing? That's my daughter, don't touch her, get out, get out. And Paul is like, we just talking, like, what is your problem? And he's like, that's my daughter. He's like, okay, I get that's your daughter, but still, we were just talking, like, you're the one that introduced, like, are you for real? And so he's still like pushing Paul and like, get out. And so everybody's just looking at him like, what is wrong with you? So it's just like, you making yourself even more suspicious, because it's like Liz said, like, how are we going to explain that to people? Which she better than me, because I'm not helping you explain nothing. I'm like, yeah, how you going to explain that? Like, I already think you touch her in an inappropriate manner, and then you introduce her to this boy, and then when she talks to that boy, you're upset about it. And it's like, he fixed her necklace and you're like, get out, get out. He's like, well, excuse me, for a daughter. And that was the thing about the whole movie. Like, they have a son together. So it's just like, you talking to her as if she don't know what it's like to have a child. Like, I'm sorry, my daughter. Like, who are you, Megan McCain? My father? Like, okay, this your daughter. So, he's like, I know what young guys, are thinking, and I didn't want that for my daughter. And it's just like, you may think that sounds good to you, but other people who actually saw you and what I'm already thinking, that story ain't gonna fly. And so Liz is at work once again with this presentation, and like the client is there this time. Like, she was doing mock presentations, and the client who said if she wasn't doing it, they would leave. So that's the only reason why her boss brought her back. It's just like the presentation didn't go anywhere because her file wouldn't pull up. So she was fired, because it's just like, this happened the last time where part of the file was there, but the other part went missing. Now she completely had nothing to show to the client. So it's just like, you've embarrassed the company yet again. So, she was fired. So she goes to Caitlin's job and it's like, asked her again, like, did you mess with my computer again? And so they get into it again. And her friend at the record store, she's like, because at this point they're yelling. And she's like, what's going on? And Liz is like, I'm just trying to figure out who this girl in front of me is. Do you know her? And her friend says, yeah, she's been working here for 3 months. So it was like, she figured out, she was like, 3 months? I thought you just got the job the other day. I thought that's why we celebrated. And that girl is a liar. She was like, I just wanted you to be proud of me, because you have a job where they rely on you. They need you at your job. And, I wish I had a mother like you. And it's just like, she's laying it on so thick. But Liz ain't here for that. She's like, she got real close to her. You're a liar. And I was just like, first of all, I'd have been like, I understand you upset, but back up off me. And then as she's walking out, in a very Steve Hightower manner, she just had to knock something over as she was leaving. And because of how Gabe acted at the party, because Paul, okay, it's like a game of telephone. Paul is AJ's friend's big brother. So I guess he stayed the night at his friend's house, because Gabe showed up to the friend house to take him to school. And last night, after the party was over and Liz and Gabe were arguing about how he acted, she told him that AJ and Caitlyn kissed. And he was like, why didn't nobody tell me? So while he's taking him to school on this motorcycle, he's like, your mom told me that you kissed Caitlyn, and what was that about? And it's like, time. I know this is something like, say if this was all real or whatever, that would be something important. But it's just like, you can't keep nothing to yourself. Why you gotta tell it? And even if, she did tell it, why do you, dad, have to say, your mom told me? Why you just can't be, like, I found out some information? Why you just gotta throw Liz up under the bus like that? And anyway, so, like, they're talking about it, and Gabe lets it slip and says, if it's just going to be the three of us living together, you got to get these thoughts and feelings about Caitlyn about your head. And AJ clocked it and was like, without mom? And he's like, no, I'm just thinking out loud. And it's just like, okay, but that's a thought that you have, and the way you worded it, like, it's just going to be the three of us without mom in the house. So what you plotting on? And he goes into the thing, mom is sick, she's ill, and she may need to go back to the hospital because us dealing with it is a lot. And so AJ looking at him funny because it's just like, what's going on? And I guess Caitlyn had her friend at her job call Gabe because he comes running in, where is she? And all this time Liz is going around. Well, she went back to the house and she looked in well, no, that couldn't be right. It had to be at her job. So at her job, she goes outside, and I guess Caitlyn left her door open because she inside her car, and she get that picture that Caitlyn first showed up with of her mom. And then she goes to the house and she's dumping out all her stuff, and she finds those DNA records, and she calls the number that's on the paper. That number ain't in service. When you dial it, it's like doo doo doo, this phone number is not in service or whatever. And then we have she goes to the address that's on the paper. It's a dead lot, like with a bolt on the gates. So it's like that whole thing is fake. But she actually finds the DNA office and goes there and says that the woman in the picture is her dead sister from Ohio, and she just like needs some information on her. And the guy is like, man, in Ohio, that's a whole different state, I can't do that. But she gives a sob story, and he's just looking at her like, all right. And he makes a phone call, and when he hangs up, he's like, I got some good news and I got some bad news. The good news is I found your sister. But what's the bad? No. I forgot what the bad news was. Oh, the bad news. She was in jail. Like, she was in prison. She wasn't dead. She was in prison. So he turns the computer towards her, and it's the lady in the picture, but she's in prison, not dead, how Caitlyn kept saying that she was, to make her story believable. So she hops in the car and she's calling Gabe like, I think Caitlyn might be dangerous, be careful. And AJ is at school telling his friend, it just seems like my dad is obsessed with Caitlyn. And the friend said, if you it was so funny. He said, if your dad want to have a relationship with his own daughter, cool. And I was like, wait. What you mean cool? And he was like, cool, but leave my brother out of it. And AJ just went like ape shit. He was like, you just don't know when to shut up. So with him getting into a fight, I guess he got suspended. So he is running home. So with him running home and then Liz, driving home, AJ gets there first. But he, oh, I forgot. I should have said that before. So at the record store, when Gabe went there to comfort her, he kisses her in the store. And Caitlin says, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. She's nothing like how you said that she would be. So I guess he thought or told her, you know, like she would be so out of it. She ain't gonna know what's going on. So anyway, they go to, I don't want to say they go home, but they go to his house, and they been there. So all that other stuff happened. Then when AJ walk in the door, you hear moaning. That's why I had to bring all that up, because it's just like he just stepped in the house, and like they ain't being shy about it at all. Because of course you thinking like, okay, he at school, she at work, we got the house to ourselves, but you never know. So why would you do that at the house? So when he opened the door, he see her, and then like he's like, first of all, he stood there a little too long for me, because like even if you didn't know that it was them two, it's like it could have possibly been your parents. So you just standing at the door, just listening and looking, nasty. But then he's like, Dad? And the dad, he's like, AJ? And then she turns around and just like drops her face into her hand. And it's just like, so he, at this point, he don't know that it's fake, I guess, still. So he like runs out, and then Liz walking in the door, and she pick up the paper that says that he's been suspended. So he walking down the front. This is what I don't get, because Gabe like jumped up, putting on his clothes to run after AJ. But it's like, you know, she done came in the house, and the way AJ walked down the stairs just a little too calm for me. It's like, for you to have just seen your dad having sex with your quote unquote sister, the way he just calmly walked down them stairs, like, Mom, and it's just like, I don't get it, because it's just like, y'all are too calm, and what is a fucked up situation? Like, it's just, I can't, like, I'm itchy, like, ugh, can't do it. And so the first thing he says is, I'm sorry for being so mean to you. And it's just like, okay. And Gabe is rushing down the stairs to put on, like, he's putting on a shirt as he's running down the stairs. But that's something else I don't understand. Like, the time sequence ain't adding up, because AJ had on his jacket, he had on his book bag, he had on his shoes. He had time to take all that off before he met his mom downstairs. So, and Gabe supposedly jumped up at the same time to go run after him. So it's just like, how you still ain't got your clothes on yet, and how you had time to take some of your clothes off. But anyway, she started putting it together, because AJ told her, don't believe anything he says, he's a liar. So she see him like half kind of dressed, and then old girl Caitlin standing on the stairs with just a shirt on. So it's just like, y'all really did this. And then she's like, oh, so it was you that messed with my files, not her. She wouldn't know how to do it. So it's like, what, y'all thought y'all was going to send me to the crazy house and y'all just live in my house? And he's like, no, it wasn't like that. I'm like, or y'all just thought she was going to be so drugged up, she wasn't going to be paying attention to what was going on. But it's like, you mess with her file, you mess with her job. So it's just like, what you thought was going to happen. You had a plan. You just didn't think she was going to figure out what that plan was. So when she finally put it all together, she like, and she's spazzing a little bit. She's like, I took out a second mortgage on this house. I'm the only one with a job. Your music career, when wasn't nobody paying you no attention, I paid for that. You know, so what? And you thought I bought this house. You thought you was going to live in it without me? So she like, how long it's been going on? And right, because I'm like, because if you say that y'all didn't concoct this plan to get rid of her, when did y'all meet? So she said they met at the record store 3 months ago, which is just like, while she was getting better, or while she was in the hospital, he met old girl at the record store. So it's just like, this whole time this has been going on. So how you gonna tell me you didn't concoct something, you know, y'all two together? And she's still just standing on the steps crying. It's like, girl, you've been crying this whole movie. You feel guilty. You don't want to do it. You threatened to leave like 2, 3 times, but you still ain't went nowhere. So you don't feel too guilty about what you're doing with this man. And she takes, whew, Liz grabbed one of them guitars. She's like, you know what? I paid for it. I'm going to take it. But this is like where the movie is, it's terrible anyway, but it's like real bad quality because it's like, what is the word? Like it's background, it's muffled. It's not like the forefront where, you know, you hear the dialogue. It's like, this, I paid for this, like, da 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 da. And he's like, give it back. And then next thing you know, she like jerks it towards his face and hit him in the face with the guitar. Then she takes it outside. What's that thing called? Is it a gazebo? Like with the rocks and stuff. Anyway, so she take the guitar and she start bashing it against that thing. He come out trying to take it from her, but you know it's already destroyed now. And I guess he mad about that because he started choking her out. Now AJ mad at this point. He like, don't you touch her. So he pushes dad off and he punch him 2 times before the dad finally dodged and he ended up hitting the concrete. So now I guess his hand broke, but not really because he's still just standing there. And it's just like for you to hit the concrete and you yell out like that, but then you just get up and y'all just standing around for, and Liz telling you know what, like you're getting out. He like, I ain't going nowhere. Just go, dad. And it's just like, oh my God, are y'all serious? And, so he like, fine, I'm gonna get my stuff. Let's go, Caitlin. And Caitlin like looking at Liz for some reason, and she walks up to her, but you still hear Gabe in the background. Let's go, Caitlin. It's like, dude, she ain't going nowhere with you. You need to realize that right by now. You don't ruin your whole life for a little girl who switched up on you real quick when it got tough. Cause it's like y'all didn't think this plan all the way through. So she walks up to Liz like, I'm so sorry. Liz like, Caitlin, deuces, like get out, girl. So she hop in her car with just the shirt that she had on. I think she had on some boxes underneath too, and she just peels off. So he left standing outside with his guitar and a bloody nose by himself. And our happily ever after is we don't know where he went, we don't care. It sounds like she got a new job over the phone. AJ still got his friend because I guess they made up, and he got the girl that he been wanting all along, and now he's nice to his mom because he offered to let her play his video game with his friends, and that's our happily ever after. Whew, this was a journey, man, because it's just like, what? Who thinks about stuff like this? You really had this girl come to your house pretending to be your daughter so y'all could mess around under, like right under the wife nose. Because like if you claim to have no plans to get rid of her, why you wouldn't just keep seeing the girl on the side? She ain't know nothing about it all this time. And it's like, you really like a 40-some-year-old man planning a life with a 19-year-old. How you didn't know she was gonna fold on you? 19-year-olds don't be thinking. Well, some, let me say some, because I ain't gonna do that. Some don't be thinking. So it's like, of course she wasn't gonna ride this out to the end. She was just gonna find somebody else, something else to do. Which I'm pretty sure she did, because we didn't see what happens to either one of them, and we don't really care. But anyway, have a beautiful night, a beautiful day whenever y'all see this. But I'm recording it at nighttime, so just have a good night. What time is it? 10:13. I gotta get up at 4 o'clock, Jesus. And I still gotta edit this. Well, fake edit, because I don't really be doing nothing special to my... Bye.